All right, so first we're going to set up the glide for this particular meteor because we want to glide towards the spaceship. And we're going to say glide for a number of seconds towards, obviously, the spaceship. But how many seconds should it be? Well, as we said before, we want the meteors to be faster if they are larger and slower if they are smaller. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to use a similar formula. And we're going to say glide. And since the minimum size was 30, we're going to say 30 over the meteor size. All right, so think of it this way. If we have the smallest size, which would be 30, that's the minimum size, then it's going to be 1 second towards the spaceship. And if we have anything larger than that, then it's going to be less than 1 second towards the spaceship. All right, so we set that up. And then we are good to go to program some other stuff. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say another when I start as a clone, because we want this to be a little bit of a different independent function, because remember, if we put anything else below this, it's first going to wait for the glide to happen completely and then do all the other stuff, right? But we want to always be checking to see if we collided with the spaceship or if the meteor collided with the laser, and we need to be constantly checking that, right? So we can't really put that here because in this case, it would wait for the glide to completely happen and for it to arrive at the spaceship, and then check all those stuff, which is not what we want. We want to check for it constantly. So we're going to say an independent when I start as a clone, and we're going to have a forever for that. And we're first going to check and see if we touch the spaceship, which would mean that we lose one of our lives. So if touching the spaceship, let's put this below there. There we go. If we touch the spaceship, then obviously we're going to need to do a couple of things. We first need to make sure this clone is being deleted, but before that, we need to broadcast something to let the heart custom know that we are losing one of our lives, right? So we need to broadcast something along the lines of reduced life. So we're going to broadcast. I'm going to say reduced life. And it'll be nice if we also play a sound with that, which is a sound that we've actually included. So just come over here and from the downloadable files, just upload the hit sound, right? So this is the sound that we're going to get when our asteroid hits our spaceship. So we're just going to put that sound effect in there as well. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say start hit sound right before that, okay? So every time we hit the spaceship, we produce that sound, and then we broadcast this message that, hey, we're supposed to lose one of our lives, and then we just delete that clone, all right? Now, what if we get hit by one of the lasers? We need to also account for that as well. So we're going to set another if. We're going to say if we touch the laser. In that case, we need to first add 1 to our score because we've successfully destroyed one of the asteroids. So change score by +1. And then we're going to delete that clone because now it's been erased, right? Once one of these meteors is hit by a laser, it's destroyed. So it's gone forever. Now, so this is good to go, but here we broadcast reduced life, but we haven't done anything with that, right? So we need to go over on the hearts to make sure that we program for that. So when we receive reduced life, what we're going to do is first we're going to change the costume to the next one. So remember, we set them up in the correct order. We set them up as 3 hearts, 2 hearts, 1 heart. Make sure they are in this order. If you haven't set them up in the correct order, it's not going to work, okay? If you have set them up in this correct order, when you say next costume, it essentially jumps from 3 to 2, and it jumps from 2 to 1, right? So when I receive reduced life, reduced costume, we're also going to change the variable ship life by -1, essentially reducing our life by 1. And what we're now going to check, and see if we arrive at 0 lives, right? Because we need to make sure we finish the game if our lives are down to 0. So let's check for that as well. We're going to say if ship life equals 0. Then first of all, we need to make sure that we change game ended to 1, essentially signaling that the game has actually ended. And we need to broadcast another message to let all these costumes know that they can stop the game, and to show some winning message, right? So show some message that you finished the game, well done, or whatever, right? So we need to make another broadcast, and we can call this end game. All right, so we set that variable to 1, and we broadcast the end of the game. And of course, we start with the hearts. We need to make sure the hearts are all just eliminated if the game has ended. So starting with the hearts, we're going to say, when I receive end game, hide. There we go. And we can just copy that onto pretty much all of these costumes, right? So when I receive end game, and we're going to go on them one by one. When I receive end game for the spaceship, we just hide it, nothing crazy. When I receive end game for the hearts, we hide it, nothing crazy. But for the laser and the asteroids, remember, we are creating lots of clones of these, so it's a little bit more complicated in that. It's not just hide, it's also delete this clone. All right, so we're going to go over here. We're going to say delete this clone. So if there are any lasers out there going, we need to just destroy them. And the same thing for the asteroid. So instead of using this, we can just copy this over. When I receive endgame, delete this clone. So that we essentially delete all clones of the asteroids that are still in the game if we receive that endgame message. All right, so that's pretty much it. Now we need to also program some display to show that we have won the game, and we'll just do that in the next video. But for now, just make sure that you have set that all up, and we can just try it, see if this is working properly. Working well so far. Now, remember, the speed of these asteroids is supposed to go up as we accumulate more score. So I'm just going to let some of them hit me. There we go. 3 of them hit me, and we delete all the clones, and everything is good to go. All right, so make sure that's all working properly, and I'll see you in the next video.